Hello guys, welcome back to the Northeast Updates YouTube channel. Join us on deadline day. I've been reluctant to make this video the last couple of days. I've been a little bit frustrated with Newcastle's transfer policy, kind of like I'd imagine a lot of Newcastle United fans had. I kind of had a little bit of hope though that Newcastle would sign Gahey or something in the pipe work. If that kind of failed, it doesn't look like that's going to happen. It's literally just been announced. The Crystal Palace manager has just done his press conference and said that Gahey will not be moving. Now, I had the golden tie ready. I had the script, which was about to get ripped up. I'd kind of lived in hope a little bit with Gahey. I thought he was the missing piece of the puzzle, but as the kind of transfer valuation just got higher and higher, I thought Newcastle, to be honest, should have walked away a little while ago. 60 million was a little bit far too much. Then 65, 70, it just got a bit bonkers. But Newcastle United right now, as it stands, obviously there's still a little bit for the transfer deadline to go, so this video could be totally out of date in a few hours. We could get a load of loan players in and then it's all happy days. But at the moment, as it stands, doing this a little bit early, it seems that Newcastle are going to be left kind of like we always are with the PSR rule, with a load of money that we aren't able to spend. That's going to be, as soon as the transfer window shuts, that's what's going to happen until January. Now, Newcastle, we know, because they put a bid in, are going to have at least 65 million to spend. That's going to be burning a hole in Eddie Howe's pocket until January. Now, if you've seen the transfer video that we did a few days ago, you've seen, I give my views on this. I thought Newcastle would finish 5th, but I kind of had a little bit optimism that we would get 4th, provided that we had a good transfer window. That hasn't been the case. I think really now waiting until January before we can do any real business, I think we're going to struggle to get Champions League especially, but maybe Europe as well. A lot of players that we've got in the squad needed updating for me. I mean, Crafty's a fantastic player, tries his best. The same with Almiron and a few others. But really, the club, if we've got £65 million, I don't know why we weren't breaking that up. You can get 2 good players for 30 million. We've just seen Chiesa go to Liverpool for 10 million, probably the bargain of the transfer window. I've always liked him all window and sang his praises. But I don't know why we didn't kind of split that budget up. 65 is an awful lot to sign. I mean, if you consider, I think it would put Gahey in the top 3 or 4 defender signings in Premier League history, next to literally Van Dijk. He's not a Van Dijk. I know he's got potential and stuff like that, but we must have known we were overpaying. The sporting director for Newcastle's come in. I think he's failed on his first attempt. He can only judge as soon as the transfer window is shut, and he's kind of failed a little bit for me. He's not really started on a great foot. There seems to be something wrong with Newcastle's performances the first 3 games of the season. Nottingham Forest in the first 2. Is there something going on? Fans will speculate whether there's stuff going on behind the scenes. Obviously, how this new guy's coming in. Obviously, Dan Ashworth's left to go to Man U. How's the new dynamics going to work? It's not really a good start. Eddie Howe, you would imagine, is a little bit furious. Presumably, Howe is said to him, get his Gahey. He hasn't done it. I know, obviously, Palace have moved the goalpost. The blame probably lies a little bit with them. We have put reasonable offers in, kind of above reasonable. Hasn't happened. So he's failed. It doesn't seem to be. The frustrating part for me is there's no plan B. Why is there no plan B? If you can't go in, if you look at all the top elite kind of clubs, I mean, we'll use the term loosely. I know we'll get a lot of the comments saying Chelsea aren't elite or whatever. But when you look at Chelsea and Man U, the last couple of days, when they went in for someone, they went and kind of sniffed around someone else just to kind of make the selling club a little bit nervous and a bit, kind of like with Ivan Toney and the rest of them. Well, if he doesn't go for Osimhen, they're now linked with Toney. Right, okay, we'll put the price down because we need to get this transfer done. Newcastle didn't do that. We had all of our eggs in one basket. I think it's very foolish. I think it has come to bite Newcastle in the arse, and I don't know why we haven't had a plan B. Not a good look for Newcastle. Now, transfer video, we'll be doing one in the next few days where we kind of go through the top 1 to 20 and rank every single team, where I think that Newcastle and everyone else will finish up at the end of the Premier League. Very curious to get your fans' thoughts on that as well. But just sticking on the transfer window, I kind of mentioned in the last video that, and it got a little bit of stick, a lot of Newcastle fans thought, what's wrong with Hall? Why are you saying we need a left back? For me, he's 19. A lot of people kind of just forget his age and just presume, right, okay, he can do it. I think he got a little bit exposed at Nottingham Forest. I mean, he's a great player. Anyone who's playing 19 in the Premier League is way ahead of the development and a fantastic player and definitely one for the future. But for going up against Saka, for going up against Salah, for going up against these world-class opposition, I don't think I would trust him fully. I think like I've said before, I think he's probably going to be the weak link just because he lacks a lot of experience, lacks a lot of qualities. He's not really the beefiest sort of thing, so you can imagine a lot of these stronger opposition are going to bully him out the way. I thought we should have went for Chilwell. Brings a ton of Premier League experience. Obviously has the risk where it's He has got a little bit of injury problems in the past, the last few seasons and stuff like that. Now I think Newcastle really need to be looking at this loan market. We're not really going to be attracting any one star centre-back. They're not going to be able to replace them. So for us, it's the loan market or bust. I think we should be going. Look at Chelsea. That Dasai, or however you pronounce his name, they've got Chilwell, they've got wingers. I mean, they've probably got about 10 different wingers that they need to get rid of. It was unfortunate last week that Makaleli, again, pronunciation probably bad, but his performance last week where he had about 3 or 4 goals, absolutely fantastic. That probably blew any chance out of the water of us kind of getting him on loan or him going out elsewhere. They're not going to loan out Felix, they're not going to loan out Neto because they've just signed them, but there's obviously a lot of players there that they probably will have to loan out just to kind of meet some sort of wage structure and to kind of balance the books a little bit. So for me, I think the last few hours, I'd be on the phone to Chelsea, I'd be putting bids in, and I'd be trying to get the Newcastle team set up at least till January, if not this entire season. Just bring a little bit more experience in. We need Botman's injury cover. I mean, God forbid we get any sort of injury. If Kraft picks up an injury, even if Isaac or Wilson's still out with an injury, we're down to the bare bones. For me personally, I think we've got a fantastic starting 11. That starting 11, if we had fit all season, would be top 4, top 5 easily. But we haven't got an underbelly. So if we pick up any injuries, we know we are carrying a couple of injury-prone players in West squad. It's a concerning time for me at the minute. Now, it probably speaks a lot of volume, the fact that really this is the first time I've been frustrated as a Newcastle fan since the new owners have come in. They've done absolutely everything right. Top to bottom, every transfer that they've done, what they're doing behind the scenes, the fact that they've got stacked, the increase in the experience for the match-going fan, they're absolutely fantastic. The fact is that this being the first time that I've been frustrated in 3 years, it speaks volumes of the fact that how the club is run. This is the first kind of red flag, the first sort of issue, and it does worry us going into the next transfer window with the sporting director that we've got. I think he needs to kind of come out and give a statement in the next couple of days and stuff like that. I don't think the club, I'm not one of these fans who say that a club statement needs every 5 minutes and stuff like that, but really it's been poor. He needs to kind of justify himself. He's going to be on huge wages. He's just come in. The fans kind of need to know. Obviously, Eddie Howe's tight-lipped and rightly so in press conferences and stuff like that. But really, the club do kind of need to come out and just explain this because it is a little bit embarrassing. It's left us with a lot of egg on our face and stuff like that. So for me, the club do need to come out and just kind of issue some sort of statement and let the fans know what's going on. Because at the moment, we're sitting on 65 million. We've been waiting ages to try to spend some money. We know now that we can spend 65 million and we balls it up. So we haven't been able to spend this. It's a bit of a farce. I want to know what you guys' thoughts are. I do kind of want to just get this frustration out and then that's it done with. I know Eddie Howe's tried to call for fans to get united and stuff like that. We're stronger when we're together. 100% fully behind the club. I think Eddie Howe's a fantastic manager. I think the club or whoever it is kind of swooped the carpet out from him a little bit because he's expected to possibly get Champions League to keep a lot of these star players happy, like Bruno, like Isaac and stuff like that. It could potentially be another season without Champions League. Are they going to get wandering feet and stuff like that? They're probably going to be frustrated thinking someone's going to be fetched in. It hasn't happened. Be very curious to know what the kind of mood is in the camp at the moment. If that's maybe led to the deflated performances the last few games and stuff like that. Or maybe it's just me overthinking. I don't know. But something hasn't been right. I thought a new signing would have lifted the players, would have lifted the club, definitely would have lifted the fan base and stuff like that. It hasn't happened. Very frustrated. Very keen to get you guys' thoughts. Where do you think the blame lies? If there's any... Where do you predict Newcastle are going to end at the end of the season now, knowing that the transfer window is going to be shut by the time this comes out anyway? If any big transfer window news does happen for Newcastle, rather than make a brand new video, I'll just comment below and kind of engage with everyone. So let us know your thoughts below. I'll be keeping an eye on the comments as well, and stay tuned, and we'll just see you in the next one.